with complexion and Mbomashita.
Philip Schumann joining us, broker and owner of REMAX. Morning, Philip. How you doing?
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Be happy to have you as always. And we have had, lengthy conversations around bonds over the months, but how exactly do bonds work? And most importantly, is it possible to apply for an incorrect type of bond?
No. Well, yes, you can apply incorrectly for a bond, okay, and then it will just be declined. But firstly, a bond is different from any other line of credit because it has a different type of security, i.e. immovable property attached to it. Okay, so that's the start of what a bond is and why it's different. So you get credit cards and you get overdrafts, and those are all different lines of credit with different criteria. A bond needs an immovable property to be registered. Okay. This is a loan registered with the deeds office. Okay. They know about this bond. Okay. Whereas they don't know about your overdraft. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So firstly, we will have a normal residential property which everybody needs to acquire first, either for them to stay in or them to rent out as an investment. This normal bond will either attract, depending on your credit portfolio or what type of property it is. For an investment property, they'll generally give you a 90-10%. For a private, for your own home, you'll probably get 100 to 108%, depending on how hungry the banks are and how good your credit profile is. Then we have a different type of bond when we are buying a plot. Well, it's still the same bond, but it's going to attract a higher deposit. Okay, generally on a plot or a farm, we're looking at 60-40, meaning 40% deposit, 60% of the bond will be given to you or approved to you. Sure. I've seen scenarios on plots and farms, depending on the client's credit or profile and how he's managed it, that the banks have given a 90%. I've seen a client the other day get 100% on his 7th property. The banks exclusively say you will not get 100% on your second property. I saw a client getting 100%, 105% on his 7th property. Yeah. So it all depends on how you manage your credit. Vacant stands, very popular because the prices are entry level, but it attracts no value from an investment point of view because it doesn't generate income. It's just dead sitting there. For this reason, the banks have found there's a lot of risk in stands because clients don't pay their levies, then they're forced to sell. So the bank doesn't want to risk everything on a stand because they're probably not going to, when they need to sell it, get full price.
Yeah, I mean, I was at auction yesterday and this guy was owing rates worth 80,000 rands.
Yeah.
You can't break even, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Now they can't let go of the property.
Sure.
Or you buying it at the auction needs to settle that 80,000.
That's the thing.
Now you don't want it, now the property's overpriced.
Snap.
Exactly. So then we have commercial bonds, which is very different from all the others, specifically because it's done over 10 years. The commercial bond is not, and this is for anything registered and zoned for commercial use. You'll get a 10-year bond. It'll still be the same as, so let's use an example. R1 million bond will attract roughly a 10,000 Rand a month bond repayment. This we know. A commercial loan will also attract similar. All right, so on R1 million commercial bond, you'll pay 10,000 Rand a month over 10 years. So you realize that it's 10 years shorter. Yeah. You have put down a 30% deposit because the banks won't necessarily give you a commercial loan, again, based on your credit, for more than 70%. They want you to put down at least a 30% deposit on commercial because, again, the demand is much lower. So they don't want to risk too much. So they want you to pay 30% up front and your bond payment will be 10,000 Rand over 10 years, if you're with me. So yeah, there's many different bonds, specifically on differing from different products. Now, you can't register a bond on a business. The banks don't want to borrow money to businesses because it's a risk. And this is why the banks love bonds, because it gives them safety and guarantees in terms of something they can still take back and flog, even though they don't want to. They thrive on the fear that you need to protect your credit score and that you'll be locked up if you don't pay, which is not necessarily true.
All right, I think let's wrap it up for today, Philip. Thank you so much for your time and always educating us when it comes to property. We really appreciate that. Broker and owner of REMAX, Philip Schumer.